الحمد لله رب العالمين ونصلي ونسلم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم. Okay, أهلا وسهلا بكم جميعا. Today is the day we will be doing the Tahara workshop, Islamic purification. So we will go through the slides, the presentation, and a lot of the points, important points that are connected to the slides will be mentioned by me. So we'll be commenting on all the points. So if you need more paper, you have it here. And this is not like a lecture setting. It's more resembling a class where it can be discussions, question answers, not just like sitting there listening, and there'll be interactions throughout the workshop, inshallah. And as we said before, there's refreshments at the back, so you don't have, there's not like a full class where you have to ask permission, sir, can I go? Just go and get stuff, or just don't take too long and come back again, just so you don't lose out. And then try to use, like close to Salah time to do that, just so you can benefit the most. So we'll break up for Salat al-Asr, and then we'll carry on after Asr until Maghrib, and then we'll conclude inshallah ta'ala. May Allah Azza wa Jal accept from us all. Bismillah. First of all, regarding Tahara, external purification. In Islam, you've got two types of purification, right? Internal purification and external purification. Which one is more important? Which one comes first? Internal or external? Which one is more important? Internal purification comes first. For example, you need to be a Muslim for you to perform wudu in the first place. Part of being a Muslim includes you having internal cleanliness, internal purification, and then to stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla and have that relationship with Him Subhanahu, we are commanded to have external purification afterwards. And that external purification is what we'll be discussing today. So the way we're going to be structuring this workshop is we'll go through some terminologies that are important for you to keep in mind. Obligatory, condition, these are continuously mentioned throughout the workshop, just so you know exactly what's being referred to. When I say condition, condition means this one, or this is an obligation, this means that one, so you don't get confused between the two. Most of the information in the slides are based on the conditions of wudu. So we start off with the condition of wudu, then we branch out, discussing the different conditions, and then moving on from there. So it's more or less where you got wudu in the center, wudu is the center, and then you just branch out covering other topics that are connected to wudu. Primarily based on the book of Shurut al-Salah, by Muhammad al-Tamimi, rahimahullah ta'ala. So that's where most of the information has been acquired from, along with additional sources, obviously the Quran and the Sunnah and the aqwal of the ulama. And also we cannot escape the fact that you will have difference of opinion. With a lot of the topics that are included within these slides, you'll see that it says difference of opinion. Now, I believe that one shouldn't dwell too much into differences of opinion, because it gets extremely confusing, and it's more suitable for students of knowledge or the scholars. But at the same time, I believe that it should be highlighted. Just so when you see someone, conducting themselves slightly differently, doing something slightly different to you, you'll know exactly where they're coming from, and that brotherhood is there. So the focus is on what unites you rather than the differences between you. And you know fully well why the slight differences that you see from people in your surrounding. This is the only reason why we'll be mentioning it. And some topics more than others, depending on their relevance, you know, will just increase on how exactly there is difference of opinion and how they understand. So it's basically a difference in the schools of thought. Schools of thought, by definition, means the way they understand the sources. So when you see Quran and Hadith, you know, they look at it and then they understand it slightly differently. You know, that's the way you get differences of opinion, and that is part of human nature, recognized by Allah Azza wa Jal as the creator. And this is why it has been preserved within this ummah and is present to an acceptable level. So a brief example of that, guys, when the Messenger ﷺ, he told the companions, there used to be a Jewish tribe. The Jewish tribe used to live in Medina, and they committed treason. They went against the Prophet. So now there's going to be war. There's going to be war. And Rasulullah says to the companions, you need to hurry yourself to that Jewish tribe. Make sure you go so fast so you pray Salat al-Asr around where the Jewish tribe is. Be quick. Pray Asr there. So now, when they're about to leave, Salat al-Asr is about to finish. So now, you get two groups. One group says, Rasulullah ﷺ didn't mean literally pray Asr there. It was just a way of saying be quick. Just like your dad says, you need to be home by dinner. You know, you need to be home by food. You know, just like that, Salat al-Asr need to be prayed there, i.e. be quick. So, the other group says, no, Rasulullah says, pray Asr there, we will pray Asr there. So group number one, they prayed Asr right there. Group number two, by the time they got there, Salat al-Asr finished. Maghrib has started, so they had to pray Salat al-Asr qada, late Asr, then Maghrib. So now we have these two groups. Which one do you think got it right? Who said number one who prayed right there before Salah finished? And who says number two who prayed Asr when they got there? And then the rest says both.
Yeah, both right.
When the companions came to the Messenger, they said, oh, Ya Rasulullah, this happened. Rasulullah could have easily said, you are right for praying Asr on time, or you are right for following my exact commandments and praying Asr there. But he said, you are both right. You are both right. How? Because you simply understood my statement slightly differently. But you both tried your best to follow my command. So this is where we see that there is an acceptable level of difference of opinion when it comes to the practical side of Islam. Right, so now we have some terminologies that we have to keep in mind. Number one is the terminology of condition. When we say condition of wudu or condition of salah, i.e. shart, referring to that which comes before the salah. Everyone can see that, right?
Yeah.
That which comes before the salah. So when we say, for example, the shart of salah is sajda. Is that correct?
Yeah.
The condition for the prayer is prostration. Is that correct? No, it's not correct. Because condition comes before the salah. So it's correct to say, like here, the condition for the salah is the condition for the salah is wudu. Wudu is the condition, one of the conditions for a salah. So condition, when we say condition, shart, it's that which comes before, that which precedes an action. Number 2 is stressed obligation. Stressed obligation, fard, that which Allah Azza wa Jal or His Messenger has made obligatory. And there is no excuse from doing those actions. Like, for example, the sujood in the salah. Doing sajda in salah, are you excused from prostrating? Can you be like, nah, you know what, I don't need to prostrate, I'll be fine. Is that fine? No, it's not fine. Your salah is not valid. Because you need to do sajda. What if you leave the salah and you're like, oh, I forgot the sajda. It's fine though, I forgot, innit? Is that fine? No. So if you left the salah and then you remember that you haven't done sajda, what do you have to do?
Say astaghfirullah. No, redo.
I wish it was that easy. Just say astaghfirullah and then carry on.
To redo it.
I have to do the whole salah again. Yeah? So you're not excused if you forgot. The next one is just obligation. Yeah? You have different terminologies depending on which book you open, slightly different terminologies. But this is what we'll be using today. Wajib, yeah, is just obligation that you are excused from if you forget. If you forget, yeah, you are excused. You don't have to go back to it. Like the first tashahhud. First tashahhud, you know when you sit and you tahiyyatu lillah, for this dhuhr that we prayed, if you forget the first one and you stand up, do you have to go back to it? No, you don't have to go back to it. As long as you prostrate, you do sajda sahu at the end. So you don't have to go back to it. If you left the salah and you went out, someone came to you, brother, I saw you pray, like 2-3 of your friends come, bro, like I saw your salah, what kind of a salah is that? You didn't even do first tashahhud. You know, you forgot, you fully forgot, and you didn't even remember even in the salah. Do you have to say, oh, Jazakallah khair, bro, I appreciate it, and then go back and do it again? No, you don't have to do it again. So you see the difference. Both of these are within the salah. Sajda is in the salah, and tashahhud in the salah. Am I correct? They're both in the salah, but there's a difference between the two. One of them, if someone comes to you, like your boy comes to you, like you forgot sajda in salah, and it's confirmed you did, what do you have to do? You have to go back and do the whole salah again. But if he comes to you and says you forgot the first tashahhud, what do you have to do? Say, oh Allah, accept. Khalas. No problem. You carry on. Because there's a difference between the two obligations. That's why we've separated them. Some books you see them being, combined into one. These two terminologies of fard and wajib. Yeah, so if you see that in some books, just understand that some places they separate them with this difference of forgetfulness. So if you forget, you're excused with one of them, with the other one you are not excused. Is that clear, guys?
Yes.
And then the last one is the voluntary, the sunnah acts, of the salah, of the wudu, of any action generally, and you will be rewarded for doing them. But you will have no sin if you leave them. For example, using the miswak. You know what miswak is, right? Yeah? Using the miswak before the salah. You have to do it. If you don't do it, do you have to repeat the salah? No, nothing. There is nothing. It's just a recommended, a sunnah, a voluntary action. If you do, you get a reward. If you don't do it, then there's not even a sin, let alone you repeating anything. Understood? Okay. SubhanAllah, when I was going through these, trying to get this together, there's so many subtopics of subtopics of subtopics. I had to stop myself. Now we're going to carry on till tomorrow like this. So at some stage I'm like, I can't. There's no way to because you talk about wudu, then you have to talk about the obligation. And then the obligation does something, and then that's affected by something else. So you end up going in off, one branch, and then that one branch we can just discuss in the whole workshop. So it was a bit tricky, but generally now we have wudu conditions, conditions of the wudu. Now that we have conditions of the wudu, what does that mean? That means that these things have to be done within the wudu, after or before?
Before.
Before the wudu. So you have to make sure all of these things are right. And then you are allowed to start your wudu. Yeah, there are 10 things, depending on what book, what scholar, what teacher you listen to. There'll be slight differences, but we're not going to get into that because that's going to cause confusion. So we'll just keep it at this for now. So we'll go into each one of these. Yes, so we understand how the ruling for each one of these are. So it is very crucial, important that all of these, are kept in mind so that your wudu is correct. If one of these boxes are not checked, what happens? Is your wudu correct? Your wudu is not correct. So you can go and do wudu. If one of these are not there, you can do wudu day in, day out. You can live in the wudu area and keep doing wudu again and again and again and again. It's not gonna count. Yeah? So 10 conditions of wudu. You don't have to write each one of them now because we go into each one of them anyways, so you don't have to write. So obviously the most important condition, Islam. Condition for all deeds to be accepted. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla says, as in the ayah, whoever desires other than Islam as a religion, whoever is outside the religion, it will never be accepted from him. And he will be from amongst the losers on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Which means that a kafir can do wudu from now until the day he sees Malakul Maut. Will that benefit him in any way?
No.
He can come and pray tahajjud, pray all 5 times, go hajj, fast. Sometimes they just, because of lulls, they got friends and stuff and they want to just fast. I've seen some of them, they fast. Yeah, I'm fasting today. And they do iftar as well. They have dates, 3 dates. They say, we need to have 3 dates. So is that going to do anything?
No.
Is it, brother, I'm following the sunnah. He's a Christian. 3 dates. It's better to have 3 dates. Is that going to do anything to him? No. It's just, the only thing it's doing to him is having a jolly time, happy time. Yeah, he's a bit excited. But other than that, he's not getting anything out of that. So similarly, for the wudu, if there's no Islam, there's no wudu. Yeah? That one is simple. Next one is sanity. A person needs to be sane. If you are not sane, your wudu is not accepted. And this we get from the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where it says, رُفِعَ الْقَلَمُ عَنْ ثَلَاثٍ. The pen has been lifted, as in, the angels on both sides, they don't write anything. There's nothing to be written down for 3 people. 3 kinds of people, nothing is written. There's no action written on their name. Number 1 is the sleeper, the one who sleeps. When he's sleeping, whatever you do in your sleep is not going to be counted. One of my family members, he kicked his grandma while he was sleeping. His grandma came to wake him up for Fajr, and he didn't realize. A deep sleeper. And he just moved and kicked his grandma, and she fell like 3 meters away. So when he woke up, she was like, he's like, oh, is everything okay? I'm never going to wake you up for Fajr again. Why? What happened? You need to wake me up. I'm not going to. No, you kicked me. I tried to wake you up. You kicked me. I got hurt. And she's in the 70s, 80s, so one kick is good. She never entered the hospital. So he's not going to be accountable for kicking his grandma, when he's sleeping. You don't get accountable for what you do when you're sleeping. Number 2 is when you're a minor. When you see a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, he goes and is naughty, he does stuff he's not supposed to is he going to be held accountable for that? No. Who said yeah? You're going to get held accountable. A 4-year-old goes and breaks something, breaks his dad's phone. Is he going to get accountable for that? On Yom Al-Qiyamah, is he going to get punished for it? 3-year-old, a baby. Or a baby, you cried too much and you prevented your mom and dad from sleeping, so you're going to be punished. Yeah? No? No. So the third one, which is this condition, al-majnoonu hatta ya'qil aw yafiq. So the sane person until he recovers. So you have sanity, guys. You have sanity that is for life. You know, when someone is insane, for life, you know, from the beginning of the life until the end, nothing is written down for him. And then you have others that recover, and from the time they recover, then it starts, you know, being written down in his name. Third one.
On the topic of like sanity, so does that apply to people who go through like mental health issues and stuff? So on like you said, like a temporary basis. So is there like not a scale, but is there like something that can be extrapolated from that to?
Yeah, so depending on how severe it is, if it reaches a stage of them not being aware of themselves, then that's when this applies, until they're aware of themselves. Let's get questions to the end of each topic, that just becomes simpler. Right, number 3 is maturity. Yeah, so this is one of the conditions of Salah and Wudu, where Rasulullah says that command your children to pray when they are 7, and discipline them when they become 10, and arrange their beds to sleep separately. Okay, so when they are 7, they are informed of the prayer, they're commanded to pray, yeah, and that's when the wudu and the salah will start to be valid. And the salah at that age, it will be valid as nafil. As a 7-year-old, when a 7-year-old is praying an obligatory act, it's not counted as an obligation because it's not obligatory for him in the first place. You guys get that? You guys get that? So if a 7-year-old comes, he does wudu, he prays dhuhr. Is it counted as dhuhr, an obligation?
No, an obligation.
It's not a fard because it's not obligatory upon him in the first place. If he leaves all the prayers, will he be punished for it? A 7-year-old? No. So that shows it's not an obligation for him to begin with. So if he prays, it counts as extra nafil. All of it is nafil. But it's one of the conditions for wudu. The next one is an important one, intention, a niyyah. Okay, so a couple of things when it comes to a niyyah that we really have to keep in mind. Number 1 is the way intention is done. Intention and niyyah is done in the heart. You know, when you go to the wudu area after the toilet, you consciously say to yourself, you know, I'm here and I'm making wudu. And that consciousness, you know, that you saying to yourself that you're going to do the wudu is enough. It's enough. That's the intention. There is no need, and it's not been practiced by any of the predecessors, for you to say, you know, for you to utter, say the intention. I'm standing here, I intend on doing wudu at 2 o'clock for Salatul Asr, and I'm here in Bracknell. It's not like Allah doesn't know where you are and you have to tell Him. You know, if that's the case, you know, someone who says, no, you have to say it, and they come to Salah, I'm standing here, I'm about to pray 4 rak'at of Asr in Bracknell Masjid, behind Imam Ibraheem, towards the Kaaba. You know, there's no need to utter the intention. The only time intention is to be said out loud is? Who said what? Hajj and Umrah. You know, Hajj and the voluntary virgin Umrah. Where, you know, when you start, you say, Labbaik Allahumma Umrah. Or Labbaik Allahumma Hajj. Yeah? That's when you say it. Because the Messenger ﷺ said it, we say it. Other than that time, there is no, audible intention in any way. Okay? So as long as you're conscious, not conscious that you might say, yeah, okay, that's simple, that's fine. But sometimes you need to really have it consciously in mind. For example, when you come and you jump in, you're swimming, jump in the ocean. Can you just jump in the ocean swimming and then come out and say, I washed everywhere anyway, so now I have wudu? No, your wudu's not valid. Because you didn't consciously say, I'm gonna swim and I'm also making wudu while I'm in the water. You didn't have that in your mind, so it doesn't count. Okay? The other thing that's very important, أَلَّا يَنْوِيَ قَطْعَهَا حَتَّى تَتِمَّ طَهَارَتُهُ. The second point, which is that the intention is there throughout your wudu. So from the time you start washing your hands, your face, and then you say, CBA right now, I wash my face, let me go and play games, and then I come back and I do I'll stop the wudu and I'll put it on pause, and then I'll go, I'll come back. You can't do that. The intention needs to be throughout. No one does that, but the point is there, you can't leave to do something, even if you have to do I'll do this quickly, and I'll come back again. If you go and come back, then you need to start your wudu again. Yeah? That's clear, guys, yeah? Right, now we get to the first difference of opinion. Where we have some people that say you don't need to have the intention when you do wudu. Yeah, some people say that you don't need intention. Don't want to make this too confusing, but you don't need intention because the water purifies anyways. Because it already purifies, you don't need to make the intention. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, أَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا. Ma, water, purifies anyways, so you don't need to have the intention for your wudu to be valid. Some people will say this, but most say that you need to have the intention for wudu and salah and every other action. And there is evidences that they present, but most of them say that you should have intention. And this is where the Messenger ﷺ, the very famous hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. Actions are according to intention. So you get reward based on your intentions. What you consciously have in mind, that's what you're going to get rewarded by. If you don't have it, if you don't consciously think of an action, intend on action, you're not going to get rewarded. For example, if you just go to sleep at night, just like every night, without thinking of anything, you're not going to get rewarded for the sleep. But if you're smart and you say to yourself that, just simply consciously, you don't have to even say it. If you say that, I want to sleep so that I'm able to worship Allah Azza wa Jal better, as in I get the strength to worship Him. When you have that in your mind, every hour of you snoring becomes ajr, becomes reward. How? What's the difference between the two? What's the difference between the two?
Make your intention.
Intention. The difference is the intention. You made an intention in one, so you can do that to anything. You want to see your friends, you see them because you have good friends, you see them for the sake of Allah. I want to be with my family because I keep in mind the kidship for Allah. These things, if you have them in mind, every single action, every single day, on a daily basis, will become ajr. You will get reward from doing them. Right. The next one, number 5, is breakage barrier. So anything breaking wudu stops. So if you're still in the toilet, some toilets they have a sink. You shouldn't be standing anyways, but just to give the example, if you're standing doing your toilet, you can't start your wudu while you still carrying on doing your business in the toilet. Or if you're continuously bleeding, lots and lots of blood, you can't just start your wudu quickly while that is happening. You need to stop the bleeding first, then you go and make the wudu. Yeah? So you need to stop anything that breaks the wudu first, then you go on to making a wudu. If you are doing a wudu while the wudu is being broken, can your wudu be valid? No, obviously it's not possible. The other thing is very important is that you balance between reality, logic, and being a doubtful person. You know, there are some people, obviously, like sometimes when you go to the toilet, even after you've done the business and you've cleaned yourself, you're gonna get drips and stuff, right? So, what you're supposed to do is just clean it a number of times and you leave it, خلاص. You clean now. But some people, they will stand outside the toilet, they'll come out, they're thinking. I've actually seen this. Stand there 15 minutes, then they go back and check again. They're like, oh no, why? And they come out another 10-15 minutes, then they think again, oh no, I might not. This doubtful behavior is not correct. So there needs to be a balance. There can't be any doubt in any action. Doubt is highly disliked in a religion. It is very loved. It's preferable by shaitan. He absolutely adores doubt. Because when he puts doubt in you, then your whole action, your whole state of worship goes away. Because all of the time, you keep thinking, you keep doubting yourself. In the toilet, you're doubting yourself. Wudu, did I wash it? Did I not? Is it still not dry? What about if it's not dry? What about if it's dry? In the salah, did I stand? Did I not stand? This behavior, this kind of doubtfulness is very precious to the shaitan. He loves it because he knows he's ruined everything for you. Can you concentrate when you're doubting like that? No, not possible. Because all you're doing is, did I not? Did I not? So there is no khushu, there's nothing, and he loves it. Can't get enough of it. He loves when we're doubtful. That's why we need to get rid of any doubt. Between reality and doubt. The next one, number 6 is al-istinja or al-istijmar. So now we get to the stage of you've gone to the toilet, akramakumullah, and it's time for you to clean yourself, to purify yourself after doing your business. So this is done, purification in the toilet is done with either istinja, as you see there, using water, or istijmar, using solids. Okay? So now there are 3 ways. There are 3 ways that you're able to purify yourself. Number 1 is when you just use solids. When you just use solids. So solids can be leaves, stones. Nowadays, obviously, is toilet paper, that version of solids. But if you're out, for example, let's say you've gone out somewhere and there's no toilet and you go somewhere far and you have leaves or whatever is pure, not food and not bones and nothing like that, but as long as it's pure, solid, you can use that. That's what they used to use in the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They used to use stones or leaves because they obviously didn't have toilet paper. So, but now, most of the time, wherever you go, you're going to find toilet paper. So you're allowed to, common misconception, people think you can't just use toilet paper, but you can't. It's the least preferable option, but you can. That's the point. You're allowed to only use solids. You shouldn't, because that's not the best way. But in terms of, will it be accepted from you? Will it be accepted from you? Yes, it will be accepted from you. As long as you keep in mind, guys, that you use toilet paper and you check if there is lots of atharat, remnants of the najasa on the toilet paper. So you keep using it, not too much, but you keep using it until there is a satisfactory level, and it's bare minimum. because sometimes you're not able to, because it's just solids, you're not able to remove all the remnants. Not possible. So if there is a bit there, that's mu'af. You're pardoned from that because it's not possible. It's not realistic to fully cleanse yourself with solids, which is why it's the least preferable option. The one above that is only using water. The first one, the least one, was only solids. The one above that is only water. Yeah? So that's when you just use water to cleanse yourself and then you come out. I don't know how people do that because, like, obviously if you like fully wet everywhere, once you stand up and put trousers, it doesn't go well, you know? So I don't know how, some people, you know, back home they do it. In Medina, in other countries, if you say toilet paper, they look at you like, you're going to the toilet and you're asking for toilet paper. What do you need toilet paper for? What are you going to do with toilet paper? I'm like, I'm going to the toilet. He goes, yeah, so? Toilet. Well, it doesn't register because it's not the norm. Even in Medina, there's no toilet paper. You have to go around, ask people. Go to the shop and say, so get from the shop. They usually have like the tissues in shops. So you ask them for a cup and then you have to go all the way back to the toilets to use them. You know? So, but like we said, it is acceptable. If that's the norm, if people do that, it is still an acceptable way of doing it. Istinja. The best version, yeah, the one on top, which alhamdulillah, we're not excused from because we more or less have that available everywhere, is using a combination of both. You know, you use water to clean yourself, then you use solids to dry yourself. And that is definitely preferable. Because you come out and you feel clean, nothing is distracting you, irritating you as a result of being in the toilet. Is that understood, guys? Yeah, so solids, can you just use solids?
Yes.
What if there's a bit left? Yes, it's fine. Okay, alhamdulillah. The next two. Number 7 and number 8. The first one here is water purity. Obviously, the water that you use needs to be pure. If you use impure water, can you do your wudu with impure water? No. So, Rasulullah says, إِنَّ الْمَاءَ طَهُورٌ لَا يُنَجِّسُهُ شَيْءٍ. Water is pure for ablution and nothing makes it impure. Except, that which is clear change in the water. So, very, very briefly, because we don't want to get too deep into it, water is only 3 types. Only 3 types. One is tahur. Tahur is when it's clean and it can be used to clean. This water, it's clean, right?
Yeah.
Can it be used to clean?
Yes.
Of course it can. Now, if I have coffee here, is coffee clean? If something is clean, that means you can also drink it. Is it clean? Is coffee clean? Can you use coffee to clean yourself?
No.
No. See the 2 different ones. So now we have tahur, which is this one. Tahir, we have the elongation. Tahur is this one. Tahir is the other one. Is like anything that's pure, but it doesn't purify. Do you get the difference? It's pure, but it doesn't purify. Like if you have juice, you want to do wudu with the apple juice. Can you do that? No, you can't do that. You can't do wudu with apple juice. So that one is tahir. And then you have a third one, najis, impure water. If impurities get to it, if an impurity gets to it, and either 3 things change, the smell, the taste, or the color, then that water, now it's najis. So it's neither pure nor does it purify, because you can't drink that, right? If you put like I don't know, like let's say you get pig meat and I put it in this water and I shake it like that for some reason. Right? So can you can you drink this? Can you use it in any way? What would you do with it?
Read the bin.
Chuck it. Because it's najis. Now it's impure, it's fully impure. You can't use it at all. You guys get the 3 different ways? You can think of it as water, juice, and just impure. Okay, so those are the 3 ones. So the only one basically that you can use to purify yourself is water. That which purifies, that which is tahur, pure. Okay? Now, water, it will, once it gets to a certain level, nothing that falls into it can affect it. Let's go back to the previous example. I told you guys, if you put a piece of haram meat or something that's haram, alcohol. Yeah, let's put alcohol as an example. If I put a bit of wine into this, now what happens to this water? Which 3 does it become?
Najis.
Najis is fully impure. I can't use it, obviously can't drink it. And I also can't use it because alcohol is najis itself. So when you put something najis, that's the ruling, yeah? When you put something impure into something pure, that also becomes impure. Yeah? So now, this one cannot be used. Okay. Now there is a certain level when you have more than 2 tanks of water, around 300 liters. They're different, but around 300 liters. If I pour a whole bottle of alcohol into it, let's say it's a river, a whole bottle of alcohol. Now the whole river, can you not use any part of the river anymore? You can. How come? We just said we can't. Yeah, because there's loads. The water is more, thousands of tons of water. You know, millions.
It's not going to affect like, all of it.
It doesn't affect. So when it doesn't affect, then obviously you can use it. Like, you know, when you go to the ocean, you know, you can do wudu from the water, even though it's salty water. Salty water, if this one is salty, can you use it for wudu?
Yeah. Yes.
No, you don't use it once the taste changes. Yeah, so you can't use that. But the ocean, you can use that to make wudu. Okay. Now, the next part. That was purity of the water. Okay. The next one is water permissibility, as in the water being halal. How can the water be haram? Can the water be haram? No, can water be haram? Yeah.
If it's from haram money.
If it's from haram money, or if it's your water and I
Take it.
steal it from you.
Haram.
Now this water becomes haram water. Okay? So, if the water in itself, what you're using to do wudu is impermissible and haram, you cannot use that. You can't use that to do wudu. Again, here we have a difference of opinion whether your wudu is accepted or not. Yeah? But, so that's why sometimes you're going to see some people say the wudu is not even valid. Others say your wudu is valid, but you're a sinner. You know, you get 2 different variations of this. So just to be on the safe side, just obviously don't steal water. Yeah, you know, don't use impermissible water. Obviously for us it's a joke, but obviously the ones that don't have access to water, it might be a bit different for them. But even with haram money, you know, with haram money, you use haram money to buy the water, that water is haram. That one is more realistic when it comes to us. You know? So if you use money from riba, yeah, to buy the water, or profits from alcohol to buy the water, then that water is also haram. Everything you buy from haram money becomes haram. Yeah? So, just to be on the safe side, even though there's a difference of opinion, you know, whether your wudu is accepted or not, no one says it's allowed to do it. No one says it's allowed to do that. It's not allowed to do it. But the difference is, if you do it, if this water is haram, and I use it, do I have wudu now or not? That's the difference of opinion. That's when some say, yeah, you do, because there's nothing to say you don't. Others say, no, because you stole the water, so how can you, so, but to keep on the safe side, we just don't do that. Okay, the next two. Barrier removal. Anything that covers your limbs. If you have something on your arms or on your face, on the places where you're washing, what's more realistic than us is with the sisters, when they have makeup on. It's a barrier between you and the limbs. So, can you do wudu if there's a barrier? No, you can't. Yeah? No, you can't. And similarly, jewelry. So obviously that even is also more realistic with sister, but also with the men. If you have ring, we are allowed to wear rings, aren't we? No, very limited, but we're just about allowed to have silver rings only on 2 fingers. The 4 fingers, 2 on this side, 2 on this side. These are the 4 that we men are. The sisters, they can wear every single finger, everything. They're allowed to do all of that. But we are only limited to those 4 fingers. Nothing more. These 4 fingers. So when you're making wudu and you have the ring, what do you have to do? Yeah?
You have to take it off.
You can take it off if you want. Or you can also move it. Just so water gets to the hand or the finger. Yeah? So anything that covers the part, the limb that you need to wash needs to be removed, or at least moved in a way where the water gets to it. If it doesn't get to it, is your wudu accepted? No, your wudu is not accepted. And then there's some exceptions we'll see later on, with somebody like limbs covered and you're allowed to wipe over it, but we'll get to that. And the last one is the last condition is only for the ones who continuously breaks their wudu. Have you seen the people that they can't control, like their stomachs? They can't control passing wind, they can't control urine, they can't control any of it because of certain illness they might have. So does that mean they can't pray at all? No, they do wudu, but they do wudu every single salah. So now dhuhr started, right? So if a person comes in the masjid and he has that condition and he can't control it, it keeps coming and he can't do anything about it. He can't just keep wudu, keep wudu, keep wudu. He's going to spend a whole day in the wudu area. That's not realistic. So for that person only is the last condition there, where they just do wudu, let's say dhuhr, they do wudu, and then whatever happens after is fine. He can't control it, so he's not burdened by that. But then when Asr starts, he needs to do wudu again. This is what's meant with dukhul al-waqt, enter time, when the time enters. The time for salah enters. Then he will have to do wudu for maghrib, then wudu for isha. So for every salah, he needs to do wudu, and in between them, for the part that he's not able to control, he is not held accountable for that which he doesn't control. Okay, alhamdulillah. So those are the conditions of wudu. Any questions? Do you guys get the conditions of wudu? Right? Fine. If I take your water, am I allowed to do wudu with it?
No. Some say yes, some say no.
Am I allowed to do wudu with it? No, that's a full no. What you're referring to, if I ask, is my wudu correct if I take it still and I still use it? Is my wudu correct? Let's just stay safe and say no. We stay safe and we say no. But just for you to know, if you hear it, you go, oh, no, we heard, he said, you say something different. No, we don't attack others just because of different opinion. If you see someone doing things slightly different, then just go and ask someone who knows. By the way, I don't have any way of checking the time, so
It's from the back, so
okay.
probably quarter past, I think, isn't it? Imam, roughly.
So we do the obligations as well, which is slightly easier, and then we. Yeah, Fadal.
Just wanted to ask one question. So if you've been to the toilet and you did your wudu, then later on perhaps you had a slight leakage, do you have to then change your clothes, or can you clean and make wudu again?
So if you've got impurity in the clothes, yeah, we'll get to that later. Khalas. So that's with regards to conditions. Conditions are before. Now that the before part is done, what happens?
After.
Now we have to go within the wudu itself. Yeah? So when it comes to the obligations, these are fard, obligations. What do you mean with this obligation? Are you excused?
No.
No, you are not excused in any way, shape or form. If you forgot, yeah, and you remembered, you have to go and do your wudu again. Okay? So now, we have 6 obligations. 6 obligatory actions of the wudu that you need to do, you need to keep in mind, or else your wudu is invalid. If you want, you can lean, but not. No. Right. So we get that directly from the ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Yeah, so one ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal, He has told us in detail how to do wudu. And in the ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal says, "O you who believe, when you rise to perform prayer, wash your face." That's number 1. Washing the face. So when you wash the face, the had, the limit of the face is when the ears start on the side. You know, the ears, between the 2 ears, and the chin down here, and where the hairline starts. You know, this would include the face. Okay, so now we have the topic of the beard. If you have a beard. If you have a beard, then you need to check if you're able to see your skin. If you're able to see your skin, then you need to get your fingers through the beard itself. You know, have you seen them? You know, when they wash them, they get their fingers through the beard. Yeah? So run the fingers through the beard, and if you're not able to see your skin, if it's thick enough that you can't see, then you can wash above the beard, and that would be sufficient. You know, so just above it, you know, it's like wiping over it basically when you wash your face, and that will be sufficient. Okay. The other thing is al-madmada wal-istinshaq. So putting water into your mouth and into your nose. Yeah, so that's also part of washing your face. And the next part, Allah Azza wa Jal tells us about washing the arms to elbow. Yeah, washing the arm to the elbow. And then wiping the head. And when you wipe the head, you just wet your hands and you run your hands all the way to the back. Yeah, and then from the back all the way to the front again, and then you run it through the above and in your ear, just as we do generally when we do wudu. Okay, there is no washing of the back of the neck, which is a common mistake that some people they mention as part of wudu, not part of wudu, because the hadith regarding the back of the neck is weak. Because it's not weak and it's not sound, there is no other source from the Messenger ﷺ to tell us to wash the back of the neck. Yeah, so that's why we don't do it. He didn't do it, so we don't do it. We can't do anything that he didn't do. That's clear, right? And then after that, we wash the feet to the ankles. Yeah, wash the feet to the ankles, and we run the fingers through each one of the toes. Yeah, the pinky finger, the small one, you run it through between the toes, so every part of the foot is cleaned up until the ankle. And then there is number 5, which is washing it in order. Now, washing these body parts in order, Rasulullah ﷺ says about Safa and Marwa, "Ibda'u bima bada Allah." We start with what Allah started. Yeah. So in the ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal has given us the order in such a way in the Arabic language that it is understood based on the way Allah Azza wa Jalla has commanded us, that He wants us to do it in that order. Which is why, if you start with the feet and you go to the head, then you go to the face, then you go to the arms, will your wudu be accepted? It will not be accepted. Last one is avoiding dryness. You are not allowed to leave any one of those limbs dry in any way, shape or form. Because the Messenger ﷺ, as is mentioned there, he saw a man praying with the size of a coin of dryness on his foot. And the Messenger ﷺ told him, he commanded him to repeat his wudu and his prayer. Which means that if you have dryness, any amount of dryness after the wudu, your wudu is not valid and you need to do it again. Yeah? So, similarly, when you're doing wudu, don't delay. This is also part of avoiding dryness. So, don't delay washing the next limb to the point where what you washed the one you washed right before become dry. What do you mean by this? So, if you wash your face now, your face is wet, right? But now you're like, oh, I have to do something. So you do something and your face now becomes dry. So you come back and you want to carry on the wudu. Can you then start from your arms? Carry on from where you have left off? No, you can't. Because the one that you were washing dried. It dried and then you delayed it to the point where it dried and then you're carrying on. Does that make sense? So the limb you just washed cannot dry before you wash the next part during the wudu. Okay? So those 6, basically where you need to wash, the four first ones are literally where you need to wash: face, arms, head, and feet. And then the order, then avoiding dryness. That is clear, yeah? Okay, alhamdulillah. All included within the one ayah in the hadith of the Messenger. So I think we'll stop there inshallah and then carry on after Salat al-Asr. Any questions before we break off for Asr? Hold on.
That order of wudu that was mentioned is applicable only for the first acts of wudu, right? Not the other acts that you do it in first.
Say again?
The order of making wudu is only applicable for the third act.
The third act?
Third act of the wudu.
Oh, third act. Yeah, yes, of course.
Yeah, not the, if you let's say forgot it, opening it and putting it, some water in the nose, you can carry on doing it as long as you follow the order of the fourth act of the wudu.
Yeah, when it comes to the specific example of in the mouth, you shouldn't do that. So if you forgot, let's say you forgot to do the mouth, then you go back and you restart it. Yeah, that's preferable. But let's say something like miswak. Using a miswak is sunnah. Yeah, so that's not part of the fara'id. So if you forgot to use miswak before, or you're in the middle and you want to use it, or you're at the end and you want to use it briefly, quickly, you can do so, no problem. So that one, there's no issue. Or doing the right one first. Doing the right one is a sunnah. If you do a left one, it's not rejected because it doesn't say left first, right first, then left. But it's part of the sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ to do the right side before the left. خلاص إن شاء الله. If you do that, then do it.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح